Welcome to SEC Football Live here on the 440 Sports Network, brought to you by Tennessee Brew Works, a fantastic local brewery in downtown Nashville. That is Trey Wallace of Outkick. I am Braden Gall. We are not live today, but it is great to see you, Trey. How was Dega?
It was Vegas always interesting. Like it's always just the Talladega Boulevard. I wasn't camping out in a tent or anything like that. But it was fun. I mean, and you get to see family and you get to see the little new cousins that are in the world, and you get to hear.
Camping at a racetrack is a young man's game.
I did that. I mean, I did that back in the day at Talladega.
I did it at
It was rough. But it was fun, man. Like, hearing all the curse words and the birds being flipped off at Bubba and some of the racial stuff. I mean, it was just fun. I had a good time. We just laugh at it. I mean, it doesn't matter now.
The people that don't know, of course, Bubba Wallace is that Wallace. That's the same Wallace. And so you're telling me that Bubba Wallace thinks that the racist part is, quote, fun?
I mean, it's funny now. Like, it just, all of it is just one big joke. Like, and you know what to expect when you go to Talladega. Look, I'm from Alabama. I'm talking about the stuff that went down at Talladega years ago, where everybody got on their high horse and they thought it was Bubba that went out to the garage and planted the stupid thing when he was locked on a bus and couldn't move because of COVID and didn't find out to the end. And he thought it was actually a noose that was in his garage at home in North Carolina and not in the Talladega garage. Yeah, people are dumbasses, but that's a whole story I could go down for days, and I'm sure my employer would love that. Which I don't give a shit about. Yeah. Like, honestly, I don't care. Like, right.
It's good to see your face again, Trey.
It's been fun. Like, everything, there's been so much stuff going on, too, in college athletics, like, keeping up with it. Like, there was no break. You know what I mean? Like, there was, there was NCAA stuff. Then you come back and there's, the Brendan Sorsby stuff that I kind of heard whispers about, and then the Pavia stuff. Like, it's been nonstop since.
Yep. And we're going to cover all of it. So we'll talk NFL draft and Diego Pavia. We'll talk gambling and Brendan Sorsby and sort of what does that mean for like the sport moving forward. And there's also this looming vote coming up in a few weeks about the 5-for-5 eligibility rule. And what is it going to mean? What's the age limit going to mean? So I know we've talked about it before, but I'll ask you about that quickly. Let's start with Sorsby though. So we'll get to that first. Reminder: go support a good local brewery. And if you're in Middle Tennessee, those breweries are Tennessee Brew Works, Yazoo Brewing Company, East Nashville Beer Works. All three of which are fantastic, great local breweries. The beer is quality. The food is amazing. It's a great place to take the kids or the dog. Yazoo's up on a bluff on a river in just north of the city, about 10 minutes. East Nashville Beer Works is in East Nashville. You got the drop-down screen. We had a big Nashville SC watch party a couple of weeks ago. And Tennessee Brew Works is right there downtown. So all you visiting Nashville, make sure you check out Tennessee Brew Works. The menu is spectacular. It is the best dinner or food you will have at a brewery maybe ever. And, oh, by the way, the beer is delicious and spectacular as well, all with Tennessee ingredients. They're very committed. That's why they're the Guitar Pick beer. If you look at the logo there on the YouTube screen, you can see the logo. And that's why it's shaped. Everything they do is from the state of Tennessee. All their food has their beer in it, which is from the state of Tennessee. And it's right there downtown next to Third Man Records. So if you want to pregame for anything, you're pregaming for anything, go check out Tennessee Brew Works. So Cincinnati quarterback Brendan Sorsby, who went to Indiana first and is transferring to Texas Tech this season. He already did, I guess, and is now taking a leave of absence from the football team to enter residential rehab, gambling rehab, addiction rehab, for lack of a better word. I don't really care about the details. I wish him the best of luck in trying to get healthy or whatever. I think there are some very serious, broad questions and conversations that we could have, Trey, about the role of technology in all of this that I'm going to bring up here in a second. It's not the most important thing, but I'm going to bring it up because there's a reason that your gambling app looks like Instagram. There's a reason your gambling app there's a reason that slot machines look and sound the way they do in a casino. It is to keep the dopamine hit going to your brain and to continually addict you to the substance that they are selling you, in which case the phone is selling you time spent on phone, and in this case, potentially gambling on phone. So we don't know what this means from his eligibility standpoint. I assume that his eligibility is going to be very much in question at this point because there's very strict rules. basically the report said, Trey, over thousands of wagers online on his phone, even including betting on his own team while he was at Indiana. We'll get to what this means for the sport writ large, because I still do not know, Trey, how you regulate this in a country where everyone has a supercomputer in their pocket, and now these kids all have a bunch of extra money to have fun with, and they all gamble. I'm convinced of it. So let's start with Sorsby. What makes this one sort of interesting, unique, special in the grand scheme of, like, I'm pretty sure college athletes are gambling all the time.
Yeah, no, and it's also like, these athletes, they can get on their phone and put in a different date of birth, whatnot, and you're gambling. I mean, and it's easy. I mean, it's so. I know people right now that are under 21 that are gambling on these apps. I think what it comes down to with Sorsby is So I talked to a bunch of different people about this yesterday and this morning, and when we were recording this. And they're not worried about, what he did at a pro baseball game. Like that, whatever. That obviously they are, but in a sense of that's not going to be the tipping point. The tipping point is what happened at Indiana in 2022. And him, allegedly, I talked to a bunch of people about this, though. He was gambling on Indiana football as a red shirt. He got in one game that year, which I am told he did not gamble on when he went, when he found out he was going to play that day. He didn't gamble.
Wasn't he gambling on Indiana to win?
Yes.
Gotcha.
So
the old Pete Rose angle.
So and so just to add to that, I'm gonna skip ahead just for a minute and then go back. So I've been told Cincinnati was aware of this before the season started, before last season started, the 2025 season, that they were at least aware that he was gambling on something. He was using an app, gambling. Now, Cincinnati will come into picture. I know we'll get to this. I want to jump back a second to Indiana. Indiana could catch some flack here if they knew about something that was potentially going on. A, didn't report it. B, didn't do anything internally. So what I did last night, just thinking outside the box here, I went and looked at Indiana's schedule in that year, in 2022, 2023. And so I went in there and I did public records requests for all the different away game sites that they went to. The state of Indiana, Colorado, Kansas, Texas, everywhere. And I said, hey, I want information pertaining to if this person placed any type of wagers in the state. And I did that because it was legal for if Indiana was going to an away game, it's legal. So he can get on his phone and make a bet. I did the same thing for when he was at Cincinnati in 24 and 25. I went and found all the away games that they went to, not just the state of Ohio, and I put in request. And luckily,
that's a lot of requests.
Dude, it was a lot. It was past midnight when I finally got them all in. And so, but what I'm getting at here is I've been told there is a very big pattern. And I'm not sitting here and I'm not alleging that he gambled on football while at Cincinnati. I'm not doing that. But from what I'm told, the amount of bets he was placing, and these weren't like monster bets, guys. I mean, we're talking some UFC fights. We're talking some pro baseball. Is this guy going to get a hit, balls and strikes, stuff like that. But it was a lot. And to me, it's like, okay, how can you, a player, guy, and for the folks out there listening, people in these companies track this stuff. Like when you go on a college campus as a player, okay, one of the first things you do is they give you an app that you have to sign up for on the college campus. You put in your name, social security number, all of that good jazz, and that third-party company tracks to see if you are gambling on any, what I'm not trying to give sponsorships out, but FanDuel, DraftKings, stuff like that. So they can keep up with it. Now, what players do is they just use a buddy's name or something like that, and that's how they place the bets a lot of times. They're a family member. What it comes down to here in the eligibility, and here's the other thing I'm going to throw at you, Braden.
One more quick point. Also, if you're under the age of 30, you know how to use a VPN also.
Yeah.
If you're under the age of 30, you know exactly how to hide your location, just like you can hide your identity.
Right. I mean, how do you think I've been able to watch these, pay-per-view, sporting pay-per-views for all these years? Like, I'm not paying for them. So no offense. But I think one of the things that stands out to me, Braden, is when Cincinnati knew, first thing, they wanted to come out on Monday and say, we have no comment. Well, okay, I bet you don't have a comment. I think the other thing, too, don't forget this part. The University of Cincinnati sued Brendan Sorsby for technically his buyout, a $1 million buyout pertaining to NIL and him dipping out and leaving. Buddy, on the same day that the gambling allegations come out, Sorsby's lawyers file a motion to dismiss the case. That is not a coincidence, folks. I'm telling you, it's connected. And if folks think about it long and hard, I'm not reporting anything, but man, it'd be pretty damn convenient if Cincinnati, hey, you're not going to pay me my $1 million? Okay, well, somebody's about to find out there's some gambling going on. I'm not saying that happened. I'm just saying coincidences. It doesn't happen like that, dude.
Yeah, they don't exist. And also, oh, by the way, like if you're the defense in that situation, Sorsby, you also might have evidence that Cincinnati knows about this stuff ahead of time. So there could be some more. Discovery is not a good thing for anybody.
And that's why it all gets put out there through third parties. Somebody you can't track. And hey, I'm going to let. And the NCAA has been looking into this, for a few months, I'm told. But they didn't let Texas Tech officials know. And obviously, you don't let them know until you have to. I was told it was around 3 weeks ago that they let Texas Tech know, hey, by the way, we're investigating your $6 million quarterback for gambling. And so that's when it kind of got, oh, okay, here we go. And he also enters a program for addiction. God bless him. I hope he gets the help that he thinks he needs and all that. But
no judgment on an individual being addicted to two things that are extraordinarily addicted at a young age that are designed to addict you. And, you've been given a ton of extra money at a young age. So like, I'm not hating on him for having an addiction here. But
the reporter in me though, and I would say the same thing for a lot of people is, again, we don't deal in coincidences in this world. And that's why there's been more digging and digging and digging. Yeah. And the other thing to keep in mind here, just for folks out there, is the NCAA cannot sit down and talk to Brendan Sorsby while he is in a rehabilitation clinic.
No coincidences in the world, Trey. Well, so let's back up and take a look at college football, and we can include the SEC in all of this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just thinking through my life on campus at Tennessee. And if I had like even just a tiny bit of money, like we gambled and I had no money and no app and no phone, and we gambled. Not a lot. $10 on a game, on a college football game on a Saturday. Everybody in college does things like this, whether it's, smoking a weed, whether it's drinking underage, whether it's, whatever, man. Kids do this stuff. Now, as a football player that's making $6 million held to a higher standard because he's allowed to make $6 million, he has to be. And the question, there has to be a way to keep the integrity of the outcomes safe. That's all that matters to me. I don't care about victimless crimes. I don't care about kids gambling, but I cannot have, and this is what's really weird about gambling in general. It's not the way it used to be. When you think of like Pete Rose or the Arizona State scandal, you think about a team that's favored by 9, and they've got the basketball or they've got the football, and they shave some points at the end of the game to hit on the under, and so that the bookie makes a ton of money because they're on the arm for the bookie. That is not what happens anymore when it comes to sort of like not conspiracy, but actual stuff that's affecting the outcomes of the games. It's the prop bets, man. Why do you think that there is a ton of money coming in on some random like sixth man for the Milwaukee Bucks on a Tuesday in February, who's got a 9.5 rebound over under, and like $1 million is on the under, and then he hits the under? It's like that's where you don't like the integrity. Like, that's my concern on this. Is it's like, a running back for Cincinnati had an over under of 62 yards rushing, and he got 58 because he slipped and fell on his 13th carry in the fourth quarter.
Oops.
And he hits the under, and all of his teammates make a bunch of money on that. And that is, it's not that the outcome necessarily is being affected by the gambling. They're not shaving points the way they used to because you don't have to anymore. You can make a fortune on rushing yards, on receptions, on tackles, on anything. And Trey, I do not know how. We take thousands of athletes. How many football players are there in Division I? 136 times 100, basically. Yeah. Over 1,000 D1 FBS football playing athletes. How on earth do you monitor those people from using a private device and an app on a phone that you're not really allowed to look at? Like, I don't understand.
And by the way, they're not, speaking from a smart standpoint, they're not using their real names to log in. They're using friends, family members, somebody else. Like, right. I think that's the biggest thing to me is that it's completely different, and it's hard to keep up with, and it is like but that's why they have these companies out there that handle this and try to look at it. And again, to go back to it, it's hard to track down. Look what happened at Iowa State, 2 years ago, Braden. So I think that where we're at right now is the NCAA, just straight and honest gut answer here. The NCAA has to come down very hard on Brendan Sorsby if they have proof, which, look, if they've been digging this long, yeah. I would imagine they have the full proof. And I'm not trying to give away stuff that I know because I don't want people on social media.
You're right that they have to make an example or set an example. I don't like it, though.
No.
You're telling me that not a single SEC player has placed a wager on a college football game?
Bingo.
Like, get GTFOH. Come on, man.
Right. Yeah. And I think that what's going to have to happen, excuse me, is you're going to have to, because they have guidelines, just folks out there, like a 20-second little book here on how they do it. If you bet over $800, you get a certain period of time suspended. If you bet over $1,200, a certain period of time. Essentially, if you get like over $1,800, you're suspended for the year. I can promise you this guy has bet over $1,800 during his time in college. So what happens is, and by the way, the reason why the federal government is technically not involved yet, according to my sources, is because they're tracking this thing back to when he was underage and gambling. So once they make that connection, which is not going to be hard, that's when the federal government would potentially try to come in, which I don't know.
How old is he right now, and how old was he in 2022 in the fall?
No, it's not hard. He turned 21 recently. Like, it just, I mean, so what's going to happen is I think the NCAA, once they can ever interview him, which is going to take a minute because he can extend this thing. And if he needs the help, extend the help. But what I'm saying is, I don't think he's going to play next season. I think that what he's going to end, I think he's going to go to the NFL supplemental draft towards the end of July, and he will try to be on an NFL team next year. And if it doesn't work out, he'll prepare for 2027. And I think also at the same time, like, you look at the NIL situation here, I'm told he hadn't placed any bets since he's been at Texas Tech. And I'm like, all right, like, I had 3 people tell me that. And I'm like,
hard to believe.
Okay, like, cool. Like, I know it's legal in certain parts of Texas. So, like, stop.
But the NCAA tournament happened and you didn't wager on anything, even though you clearly have a heavy addiction to this. Yeah, right.
Right. And here's the best way to explain it. If you have an addiction, which I don't know other way to put this besides put it, I'm just going to say it. I hope that he has a problem he's getting taken care of, and this is not a PR stunt to try to lighten an NCAA blow, which I don't think it is.
Yeah,
I have to put that part out there because I've seen it. I hope it's not like that. But you don't just automatically stop because you go to a new state. Like, it doesn't work like that.
Right.
That's not how addiction works. So I think that what you're going to see is once the NCAA gets a full grasp on this thing and has what they want from him and at least questions him, he doesn't have to, guys, he can just say no comment. It's not a subpoena.
Right.
But you're going to have to say, hey, man, look, you can't play. And then what's going to happen is, to go full circle on this thing, Braden, is they're going to go to Cincinnati and they're going to get all their records and be like, hey, what did you know? When did you know? If you knew about this, why are we just now figuring it out? Yeah. And then they'll go back to Indiana and be like, hey, is there any documentation tying this thing? So Cincinnati could get in trouble. Indiana could, what are you going to do? Vacate 4 wins? Like, stop. Like, from 2022, like, I don't think that's the biggest thing. I think this is going to be the NCAA, who is losing power by the day. They're going to come out and try to wield some power here. And to be honest with you, Braden, just, I don't know where we're going after this, but I'll say this. They got to do something, because if you have this big of a player and you do nothing and you give them a slap on the wrist and you say, okay, you're good to go, that just tells me you're getting ran over. Simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah. And
if they had the evidence.
Honestly, I just don't know how, on a logistics level, like, I did not know that there's a third-party service that every player has to subscribe to. And even then, that's like the best possible way to do it, because the only real way to do it is through the gambling apps. The only real way to do it is the way the Alabama baseball coach got busted was through the gambling apps. Like the apps themselves. Like, look, you do not build pyramids out of solid gold because you lose a lot. You build pyramids out of solid gold out there. The house builds pyramids out of solid gold in Vegas traditionally, because the house wins all the time, and the house has vested interest in making sure its bets are clean and the wagers are clean and that the outcomes of the games are clean. And so the people that have the most on the line in this are actually the ones making the fortune and making it super addicted and making their apps super colorful with super celebrity appearances and parlays and all this stuff to keep you on the platform based on like science. And so it's no wonder kids are more addicted to this stuff. And gambling's already an addictive, fun thing for adults to do, much less young people who are susceptible. This is when you open a gambling app, it's basically Joe Camel. It's basically Joe Camel is sitting there smoking a stogie saying, come smoke some nicotine, little boys and girls. Like, that is what these apps look like to everybody under the age of 25.
And the crazy part about it is, you just brought up the Alabama coach, and the most interesting part is the connection. There's not a connection. I'm not trying to say there's a connection to Brendan Sorsby, but the Alabama coach had a runner who was at the Cincinnati Reds ballpark making the bets for him, which is where Brendan Sorsby was sitting in the stands and placing bets on pro baseball. Like,
all right.
No. I'm not saying they were connected. I'm saying it's just Cincinnati.
Your brain's all pickled. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Just wanted to. I don't know what you do about this. I really don't. It's a problem because again, I don't care about the gambling. So I cover the Titans here locally as well, and I'll never forget. Like, Nicholas Petit-Frere played for Ohio State. He got suspended by the NFL because he was driving, and he was like placing wagers, but then like he pulled into the facility, and he was legally allowed to place the wagers on the road. And had he just parked the car on the road and placed his bets, and then parked his car in the facility, it would have been fine. But because he drove his car into the parking lot and placed a wager in the parking lot, it was against NFL rules, and he was hit with a 4-game suspension. So the NFL knows that even if there's a shred of impropriety, they have to be so hard on this stuff because the outcomes of the games cannot be in question. You cannot do that. And so
they can triangulate everything. Guys, they literally know I am right now in Mobile, Alabama, probably sitting at my parents' desk, and there's a gambling app that might be open, but I can't gamble because it's the state of Alabama and we live in the 1940s and we don't pass shit. But what I'm saying is,
Tommy Tuberville,
they triangulate everything, and I think that's what folks are kind of not realizing through this. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, how did they find him?" Again, I go back and say, all these colleges and these conferences, they have companies that they sign up with that help them regulate and see if athletes are gambling. It's simple as that.
The only way you can do it is come in from another direction, because you're not going to stop. Like, weed can be illegal in every single city in every single state, and kids, young adults, college kids, they're going to find a way. They're going to find a way. It does not matter if you make gambling illegal. They're going to find a way. So you have to go through the other direction. You got to come at it from the apps, and I don't know how you regulate this stuff. All right,
I know people still have bookies. Like,
Right. Well, let's move on here. So this 5 and 5, we talked about it a couple weeks ago on the show. 5 years to complete 5 years of eligibility, right? And you have to have
it's coming.
So this is going to potentially be voted on May 22nd. What's the latest in sort of what's the actual rule? Explain to everybody what the actual rule is again, and then what's the latest right now in terms of what actually could be voted on in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. So the biggest thing right now is currently you have 5 years and you get 4 seasons. That's technically how it is. What's about to happen is you're going to get, whenever you graduate high school or at the age of 19, you will get, 18, you will get 5 years to play collegiate sports. So 23 years old, and depending on when your birthday is, maybe like the first part of 24 years old, you're done. College eligibility is done. Now, there are waivers and whatnot that you can get past. Like, what's the best example? If you go to BYU and you have to go on a mission or something along those lines, that won't count against you. If you're in the Army, the Navy, any of the armed forces, that won't count against you. But in plain logic, once you graduate high school, you get 5 years. And you can play 5 seasons, but you can't go any further than that. No 26-year-olds, no 27-year-olds hanging around on normal cases. And talking with some folks at the NCAA over the last week, they've got the votes to put this thing in. The D1 cabinet, which is just a bunch of guys and gals sitting around and saying, okay, yeah, this proposal will work. They passed it off now to the management committee, and then they'll vote on it. And so I think what this does is, in the long run, it takes it out of where we're at right now, where you don't have 25, 26, 27-year-olds still playing college basketball, taking up spots. But the biggest thing is, and I don't know what happens with the portal. I think that's another factor in this, Braden. But it does say to these players, hey, look, you're not going to get the opportunity for 2 waivers and no more COVID years. You're not going to have the ability to, filing a lawsuit. It's going to be a hell of a lot tougher now, trying to gain eligibility. And I think, I think it's a smart move. Like, if you graduate high school and it's time to go play college sports, that's it. And I think also this is what it's about to do. And I'll give you an example. I hate to keep going back to this young man because he's a really good player. Monty Harrison, the wide receiver at Arkansas, who was 30 years old and played 10 years of professional baseball, like legit professional baseball. He walked on at Arkansas. And now he's a returning receiver this year for the Razorbacks at 30 years old, about to be 31. What I'm saying is that's like an example of where we're getting away from.
Yeah.
And even in college basketball.
Is this college football sort of systematically trying to solve like, it can't do all of it at once. It can't do portal and transfer rules and G League and minor league baseball and NFL and Olympic sports. It's just going to say, let's solve the eligibility rule first. Then we'll try to deal with the player movement rule. Is that what this is? It's just like, because I don't have a problem with it being, I think 25 is fine too. Like 25 years old would be fine. Yeah. 23, 24, whatever. But like, could we argue, hey, it should be 6 years to finish 4 seasons or whatever, 6 years of time, but you only get 4 years of eligibility. So like I can see, especially if you're going to implement a rule where you have to sit out a second year of transferring, maybe you add a year of eligibility to that, but like it delays your eligibility. Like, I'm not saying there couldn't be arguments to be made to tweak this, but it feels like this is just going, the NCAA is going like, all right, we got to solve one of these problems. Let's try to solve the eligibility thing first, and then we'll come back to movement in a minute.
Well, my biggest thing, too, was looking at it. What if you pop an ACL or an Achilles or something like that, and it takes a little bit longer to heal? You know what I mean? So it takes a year and a half or something like that. Like, you're going to need the extra time. I think what's coming next is them have been trying to figure out what to do with the portal. And I think the portal is to be honest with you, the portal, in my opinion, is the bigger problem than the age limit, because the portal is opening up the opportunity, Braden, for these 23, 24, 25, 26-year-olds to continue playing. I think what you're going to see, and it's going to get challenged in court, okay, obviously, but you're going to see them try to pass a one-time transfer. You get one transfer free. Congratulations, free of charge. And then it's going to kind of like be the old days where if you're not a grad transfer, you're going to have to sit out a year. And I don't know if you're going to.
I really don't hate that actually. Like I don't
See, I don't either. But it's going to get challenged, and you're going to have, you're restricting this guy trying to make money or a female. That's what's coming. But at the same time, I go back and I think of Maurice Smith, who played at Alabama, transferred to Georgia. This was like, I remember writing about this 5 years ago. And he challenged the SEC and put in a waiver because it was an intra-conference transfer.
Yeah.
Essentially, he got to play the immediate year that he went to Georgia. All I'm saying is that you're about to see a fight over the next 4 or 5, 6 months on what can they do with the portal to fix it. And in honest opinion, I think it's cool. If you want to go 1 year, have at it. I think the second year is where you're going to get hit. And if that's the case, can the NCAA push it through? I don't think so.
I think it's a nice happy blend, but I'm not a lawyer and I can't tell you what is or is not challengeable in court. And
you're restricting somebody making money.
Right,
that's what they're going to say.
No,
and each state has different laws. So how does that part work? And for the folks out there wondering, Congress is not, Braden and I have been telling you this for months and months and months and months. Congress is not doing anything. They're about to take their summer break. They got midterms coming up. They don't care. Like, I'm sorry. So
they're incapable of agreeing on anything.
Right. So like, what do you think they're going to get? Yeah. So
Congress is the only thing standing in the way of Congress funding DHS right now. So
hello.
The party in power has the votes and has already been approved in the Senate. All the House has to do is vote on this to fund DHS, and they're in their own way. They can't even pass their own party's legislation. Anyway.
Can't fund airport workers. I think they knock one thing out first, and then it's okay, cool. Let's try to do this and let's move forward. And then you're going to have conferences complaining, and then there's going to be new tampering rules, which I saw. The NCAA came out yesterday.
Yeah, what's with that? Tell me about that.
And they said, "Oh well, if you're if you're turned in for tampering, you have to prove to us that you didn't tamper."
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute.
That's half. How do you prove that you didn't tamper?
That's backwards. It's like, what are you supposed to say? Here's my cell phone. Go through it. Look, like there's no messages. Like they're all ghost messages. Like how do you prove
here's my Signal app. Like, what are you talking about?
Like, how do you? I don't understand. Like that's when you needed. That's when you needed a PR official to be like, hey, I'll take care of this wording for you real quick, because that makes zero sense. But that's what they're trying to push through right now. And I think the biggest, like, if you want an example, it's Ole Miss and Clemson. Like, when Dabo went on his rant, it's like, okay, Ole Miss, prove that you didn't tamper with this person. Okay, I don't know how.
Why don't you just prove that we did, and then we'll call it a day?
Right. Thank you. I'll meet you in the middle. Like, I'll take my punishment. Yeah. So, like, and and then you have the ghost transfers. Like, I was always curious if somebody was going to try to pull that trigger this spring and go get a player. And Texas Tech is probably like, oh, I guess we have to go to the Division II transfer portal right now and look for a quarterback. But I think we're headed down the right path. But the problem is we're still 2-3 years away from any kind of thing that's going to stick.
All right, we'll talk NFL draft, Diego Pavia, but Tennessee Brew Works, of course. Go check out Tennessee Brew Works. Make sure you check out East Nashville Beer Works in Lebanon and Mount Juliet, as well as here in East Nashville. Of course, they've got a huge tap room out there. Fridays by the River. Also, if you're in town and you're in Nashville, they do a bunch of work to raise money for charity on Fridays. You can go to Fridays by the River, where they set up a beer truck and food trucks and a great band on stage right down there at Shelby Park. It is fantastic. It's under the trees. They got the string lights up. Kids are running around everywhere. It's a great time. So Fridays by the River, Fridays at 3:00 for the next few weeks. Make sure you come down to Shelby Park and hang out, eat courtesy of East Nashville Beer Works. And, of course, Yazoo Brewing Company up there on the river in Madison, just 10-15 minutes north of town. The original OG craft beer brewer in this city. So Linus and Yazoo and those guys doing great work up there. It is the OG, and it is a fantastic place to go hang. Very chill vibes. very chill vibe. If you like a good, relaxing hang, go to Yazoo. I'm telling you, up on the river. It's wonderful. All right. NFL draft, SEC for the 20th year in a row, Trey Wallace, 20th year in a row, 87 draft picks, quote unquote, won the draft. The Big Ten had 68 players drafted, but it does get interesting here in the first round. I'll get to that in a second. Alabama with 10, Texas A&M with 10, Georgia with 8, Florida, LSU, and Oklahoma with 7 each. And those are the teams that headline and lead the SEC as it pertains to sort of where they all got picked. Missouri with 6, Auburn and Tennessee with 5, Arkansas, Kentucky with 4, South Carolina 3, Mississippi State and Ole Miss only 2. And then Vanderbilt, number one player drafted, tight end Eli Stowers, which is even more of a huge testament to Clark Lee and the job that they did getting to the best season in school history with one NFL draft pick on their roster in their tight end. And so huge credit to Vanderbilt to getting to accomplishing the season that they did. However, that also means that Diego Pavia was not the one that was drafted. And so here, I am so fascinated. And here's the thing. Like, Trey, I have friends in my life who are parents, like parents that we're friends of, that our kids are friends and play on sports teams together. The Indiana fans, Purdue fans, Tennessee fans of all different teams is my point. And they all have Pavia derangement syndrome. It is like, it's like he is just so, like he is such an earworm, such a brainworm in people's minds that like he is just in there permanently living rent-free in everyone's head. And it like, I understand Tennessee fan hating Diego Pavia. I understand Alabama fan.
He ruined your senior day.
Hating Diego Pavia. I can understand some teams that have played against him and lost and had to deal with his obnoxious behavior. But like, if he was on your team, you'd love him. And all y'all's players from every one of y'all's teams celebrates touchdowns and does dances and probably goes to the club on Friday night. Like his behavior is not all that unusual from like a lot of players on every team.
Or the other club in your hometowns.
Why does this even affect the media? The media can't even report on Diego Pavia correctly. What are we doing?
No, and Mike Florio, just what a dumbass. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sure he's a great person, but you spend an hour out of your time probably writing an article that Diego Pavia does not have an NFL agent. And it turns out he was talking about NIL in college. And I mean, you literally put together a whole article bashing him. It turns out he had an agent for the last 4 months. Like, what are we doing? Like, it just, and I'm sure Pro Football Talk is really great. I just found that to be lazy journalism. I think that where we were at with Diego is he became a lightning rod in college football that everybody wanted to talk about. If you act like you didn't enjoy watching him, you're at least lying, because I'm sure Tennessee fans enjoyed Diego beating Alabama. I'm sure other fans enjoyed Diego and them beating Tennessee. Like, I could just continue going down this list. And I think the fact that he was obnoxious at times, full on, he'd say the same darn thing. I think that when he has Theo Vaughn hanging around and he's going to the clubs and he's enjoying life, and, sure, I could see the outside person being like, man, I really don't like him. But the other thing that stands out to me is you can't tell me he wasn't a really good college football player. Like,
right.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, he was. Does that mean he's going to prosper in the NFL? No. But we're having two different conversations here. So I think it was the built up hatred of Diego and all the press that he got, and, the way he acted, in which I loved it. It was fun. It brought a different aspect. And by the way, he took a Vanderbilt squad 3 years ago. They bought wins because of some of the teams they played. But at the end of the day, you struggle to win 3 to 4 games. And then you turn it around, starting 2 years ago. Then you did it last year. And folks forget that he did the same thing in New Mexico State. I mean, he went into Auburn, whooped them. I look at Diego and I think, yes, he is a lightning rod for news, but man, he's good for, the sport.
Walk through what's the worst thing Diego Pavia has done? Like I'm kind of being cheeky here.
No,
like
no.
His brother got arrested for public intox at a Vanderbilt game. Okay, no,
He got arrested in Knoxville.
No college students ever done that before.
No.
He yelled he screamed an F word at a club in New York after he walked on the South Beach. Like what is the worst thing that Diego Pavia has done?
Somebody bought him a sign after the Heisman Trophy ceremony. I know he didn't purchase it. That said, F the voters. That's it. The guy is never
That's
been
what we're
arrested.
talking about?
Yes, he's never been arrested. He's never got a traffic ticket. I wanted to say something else, but I'm not. He hasn't been, didn't fail any drug tests that I know of. You never saw his mugshot online, but for some reason, he is the absolute devil to college football, and he's bad for the sport. Guys.
Hang on. Did he take a shit in a girl's dorm room closet? Did he do that?
It'd be the first I've heard of it. I've heard a lot.
You don't know Deuce Davenport? You don't remember Najee Davenport from Miami?
Oh, okay.
He took a dump in a girl's closet.
The only thing that he did was
his nickname was Deuce Davenport.
I got it now. I figured it out. I remember the story. Diego Pavia, while he's at New Mexico State, urinated on an opponent's field at 1:00 in the morning. That was it. He was 18 years old.
Okay, that's okay. That's the worst thing he's probably done.
I did worse things than that at 22.
What about while prepping for the draft? What's the worst thing he did preparing for the draft?
He went to a strip club. Oh my gosh!
What? Let me tell y'all. Let me tell y'all a story about the 1998 Tennessee Volunteers. I worked at a restaurant out on Cedar Bluff area in Knoxville, Tennessee, and there was an establishment where the manager worked. The manager of this establishment would come into my restaurant all the time and sit at the bar and drink 2-for-1 George Killian's Irish Red, which is disgusting beer compared to Yazoo, Tennessee Brew Works, and East Nashville Beer Works. And all I did was hear stories about the 1998 Tennessee Volunteers, which remember, I was in college in like 2001 and 2. So these players were like in the NFL doing great things. They lived at this place, and you all know, every Tennessee person knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Am I allowed to blow
up the establishment spot?
Are you talking about the Mouse's Ear?
Mouse's Ear, baby.
That's it. Yeah, that crazy looking yellow building driving down Kingston Pike.
And it's so weird because like it is such like there's like a nice restaurant on one corner, and then there's like a drugstore, like a CVS on one corner, and then there's this restaurant I'm working at, and it's like there's a Best Buy next door.
It's in the back end of a Crystal's parking lot.
It's like a strip club buried in like a suburban strip mall. It's very strange.
It is the weirdest place. It's like there's a car wash, a Crystal's, a Walgreens, everything right across. Yeah, it's the weirdest spot.
Here's what I would say, Tennessee fan. If you've got a problem with Diego Pavia's behavior, you can't be an Al Wilson fan, can't be a Jamal Lewis fan, can't be a fan of any of those guys.
No. And we could go down a list. And for all you other fans out there, I promise you, there's a good amount of players on the roster that know where at least the nearest strip club is. I don't know if they got one in Tuscaloosa, but they damn sure got one 45 minutes down the road in Birmingham.
And I'm just saying this because that's the place I went to school, and I know, and I'm fine giving my team a hard time. But, we haven't even talked about tight ends who murder people.
Right. He didn't.
What about Georgia speeding laws in Athens?
I don't see Diego Pavia getting careless driving tickets.
We are not. I am not making light of bad behavior by young people who do stupid things. It happens all the time. I am trying to make fun of the people who, because this guy is a little arrogant and he's brash and he's outspoken and he doesn't play the game the way you would play the game, that you somehow think that this is some like I don't think people think he's a criminal, but they hate this guy so much. And now he's going to be like the jokes on Twitter about getting invited to mini camp are pretty funny.
And he signed a 3-year deal, by the way.
It's appropriate that the Baltimore Ravens are inviting Diego Pavia just to mini camp.
Right.
That's funny.
Then he gets the 3 or 2 before he goes.
Why can't you invite Diego Pavia to regular camp?
Right.
Regular size camp.
You got to be, you're hating on small people? What is this? Like,
he's tiny.
I don't get it. Like, what are we doing?
Mini camp. I don't know why I think that's so funny.
I hope he goes and balls out. I mean, I really do. Like,
he's not going to. He's not a professional athlete.
I know he's not. Like, he's going to be a 4th string quarterback.
He's a great college story, and that's okay. That's okay.
Yes.
Like we were watching. I'm telling you, we were watching youth soccer this weekend, Trey. And my buddy and his wife are sitting there with me, and we're watching youth. And I love these folks. These are great people. They're not they're not like anti-Vandy or like anti-player movement or getting paid. Like they're none of that stuff. And like they've probably been to strip clubs in their day, so it's not that big a deal. But it's just hilarious that they're just like, oh, are you surprised that Diego didn't get drafted? I'm like, no, he's 5'7".
Right.
When's the last 5'7" quarterback that ever started a game or threw a pass in an NFL game? It's like 100 years ago. Like, what are you talking about?
I think it was.
It's just so funny how much.
And here's the other thing. Here's the other thing too that agitates me. Everybody wants to make fun of Diego Pavia because he was at a draft party that he was hosting, that his agency was hosting, and he had a bunch of hats on the table. Let me ask you a question. Are you doing that and saying that same shit to all the other players that either A, got drafted, or B, didn't get drafted and signed undrafted free agent contracts? Are you making fun of them? No. You find the small tree and you just want to take you want to urinate all over.
No. What I'll say, like I'll say one thing, like he does bring, because he's so good at bringing the spotlight on himself, that I do think that does come with both positives and negatives. And so when you're very good at acquiring attention the way he is, that is going to bring negative attention, just like it will bring positive attention, no matter what you do in this world. And so I'm not saying that it's not okay for people to have opinions and be like, I don't really like his style. Like that's totally fine. It's just that it's so disproportionate to what he's actually done wrong in his life. And it just feels so strange to me.
Which is nothing.
Right.
Talk shit about Alabama and wanting to beat them again. If my starting quarterback is not saying the same thing, I would think, okay, there's something wrong. And I'm not saying you got to go full Diego with it. And by the way, just for folks out there, he can't help that his brothers are a couple of fun degenerates to get arrested in the stands at Neyland Stadium or at Vanderbilt. He can't help it. But guess what? He loves his brothers. He's going to hang out with his brothers.
Right.
Same way I would. If my stupid brothers went out and got arrested and done something, I still love them.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm going to hang with them. Is my mom a little crazy? Yeah, but I still love her.
That's right. That's right.
I find it all fascinating. And I think that, you know what, him getting a 3-year deal, whatever and how much ever it is worth, good for him and good for the agent for getting it done. And, I think Diego, to wrap it up, I think in 2 years, Diego Pavia is probably a starting quarterback in the UFL, and they're making a bunch of marketing money, and he's on Fox, and he's good.
He'll be a good analyst probably too for college football on a non-traditional barstool type.
Right, and he's making a bunch of appearances on WWE. Right. I can see that.
Here's the thing I would say. This will be my last point, and we can wrap up and send everybody on their way. Thanks for.
And I'll have more money than most of the people watching the show. But keep going.
Right. Hey, we have a very affluent audience, Trey.
Spend
that money at Yazoo. Spend that money on Tennessee Brew Works. Spend that money on East Nashville Beer Works. It's good for your health to actually share a beer with people in public, in moderation, of course. But here's what I would say about this, and I would compare it to Jim Harbaugh actually at Michigan.
Oh,
what I think happens to people in college football, in particular, but also in other walks of life, other areas of our culture, that people inflate overexposure for being overrated.
That's a great point.
And those are two different things. When someone is overexposed because they're so polarizing that we cover them so much, Jim Harbaugh was overexposed at Michigan, especially during that whole satellite camp era where he's like shirtless and throwing footballs in the South or whatever. Like that was annoying to people. He wasn't doing anything wrong. But he got coverage for it, and because he got so much coverage, he was overcovered. He wasn't overrated. he was overcovered. And when you get overcovered, you get overexposed. Everyone sees everything for what it is, and sometimes they think it's good, sometimes they think it's bad. But you cannot overrate Jim Harbaugh. He is a national championship football coach, one of the best of our era, and he is not overrated, which was the refrain by everyone for years. Oh, overrated. No, he's a really good coach. And guess what? We're seeing him be a really great coach still to this day. Diego Pavia is a really great quarterback, college quarterback, a really great Vanderbilt athlete, and produced one of the best seasons in Vanderbilt history, if not the best season. And because he is overexposed and overcovered, people's reaction to that is, oh, he's overrated. He's not that good. And he is that good. He was that good in college. You just didn't like the fact that he just was all over your timeline. That's all.
And the fact that we covered him like we did is because there are not many stories in college athletics like him. He's different. And when you back it up, when you back your words up, and you go beat a team like Alabama, and you walk into Neyland Stadium on senior night and you win 9 games in a regular season, and it deserves it. And so I just, and by the way, to end it, he could be, and I don't know what's going to happen with Jared Curtis and Vanderbilt, what Clark Lee does from here. But Diego Pavia could be remembered, I'll be remembered, but it could be remembered as the launching point for Vanderbilt into a new, different era. And I think, to me, that's what stands out.
No, and actually, I think there's a really interesting story about quarterbacks who build programs.
Yes.
Greg McElroy was the Alabama guy who built the program. He was there before Saban, and he built the program with Saban. Chris Leak was the guy at Florida who built it up to get to Tim Tebow. There's all kinds of guys that build a program. Like, I think Quinn Ewers was the program builder to get to Arch Manning. There's always there's always quarterbacks that build. Hendon Hooker was a guy who transferred from Virginia Tech and helped build the Josh Heupel Tennessee program to what they hope is now the 5-star, which was Nico at the time, and that didn't pan out. But you go get bigger recruits after you have the guy who quote unquote builds the program. And I think Diego Pavia could be that guy for Vanderbilt if they go on to. They went and got Jared Curtis. They don't get Jared Curtis without Rick Perry's money, but they don't do it without Diego Pavia. Diego Pavia helped build the program to the point where they could go recruit the big name player.
And also, and I'm not trying. Please, folks, don't take this as me trying to one resembles the other. But even like Ty Simpson, Kalen DeBoer should be thankful that he had Ty Simpson during his time at Alabama to potentially launch something different. I'm saying we could compare things all day, and I know where Ty Simpson went in the draft and whatnot, and how he'll probably be a better pro, obviously. But what I am saying is that you're right. There are launching off points, and there are people that get you to those points. And just because they don't succeed in the NFL and they don't have their dreams come true of being selected in the NFL draft doesn't make them a bad player. And it also, at the end of the day, Diego Pavia made a lot of money off NIL, but guess what? He earned it and he was worth it. And I think that's the biggest thing that stands out to me.
Yeah.
And if he wins this court case, by the way, if he wins this court case that could be coming to a wrap sometime in May, all you JUCO players out there that are getting extra years and not having the JUCOs count against them, you can go back and thank Diego Pavia as well for filing the lawsuit.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Trey, where can all the people find you? Outkick.com, on the internet.
I'm so young.
On Twitter at Trey Wallace. Yeah, I don't think young people are dropping mics.
I don't know why I did. I don't know why I did that. I got another one.
You might as well dab while you're at it, big guy. Just go ahead and do something that Cam Newton did 15 years ago. It's so cool. It's so cool.
No, you can follow me at Trey Wallace _. Actually, there is no at the underscore anymore. It's at Trey Wallace.
That's right. There you go.
On social media.
Quit being so goofy, all right?
Yeah, I know, right? And then Outkick.com, follow all the work. And man, we'll keep you covered. We got a bunch of stuff coming up, spring meetings coming up, and eligibility cases and Brendan Sorsby.
Looking forward to it, man. Always a pleasure, my guy. We'll eventually talk hey, could Texas win the national championship? Could Vanderbilt repeat 10 wins? How good is Jared Curtis going to be? What's going on with Tennessee's quarterback situation? Why is Kalen DeBoer getting a contract extension? We got lots of stuff to talk about that are actually football related issues, and we'll talk about it next week on the show. For Trey, I'm Braden. Thanks for hanging out. Go drink a good local beer. Yazoo, Tennessee Brew Works, East Nashville Beer Works. Go drink beer, everybody, in moderation and be responsible. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time.